There's my gavel. Any public input? Hearing none. The next thing on the agenda is the presentation, rollout of the district's new website, which is Mr. Pryor.
If you don't mind, Ms. Wade, could I defer to have Chad go first?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll have Channel 2, Granite Knob, Chad Fillion, with his presentation.
This is for each of you. You have one, she had the other mission letter. I know Dr. Niles had prepared a few things, but I grabbed a few together. Tom, unfortunately, I don't have one for you, so that's a sheet off of Steve here. So, as you know, Littleton area television has been around for a long time. Bob O'Connor started it many years ago, and it's been a staple in the community. And recently, we've had the opportunity to grow on a lot of different levels. We established a board. We became a nonprofit entity. We're looking to get our 501c3 status. And in early meetings with the Channel 2 board, we came to the realization that the word Littleton and Channel 2, as they're known within the station, actually doesn't benefit the community at the large in which it serves. There are 7 towns that formerly Littleton area television serviced. It was Sugar Hill, Bethlehem, Monroe, Carroll, Franconia, Littleton, and Lisbon. And with Littleton area television being named as such, there was feedback both from the board and the community that it was a Littleton-only station. And where we service 7 towns, we felt that that was it was identified as a possible hurdle as we look to grow even further. So we came up with a new name that encompassed our new mission for community access. Granite North Television was what was landed on. And the goal for Granite North going forward is to service those 7 towns in the immediate future with the nonprofit's goal of growing exponentially over the next 5 to 10 years to provide satellite studios in Lancaster, Lisbon, and potentially and hopefully Groveton and Colebrook. So there would be a network of these hyperlocal access television stations that all share content and share news with one another. So as we've been Littleton area television for so long, we felt it was prudent. Justin is one of my board members. Justin and I met with Dr. Niles to share information about our station and what we're looking to do. And he felt that it was very important to also share it with the board because for a long time, Channel 2 and the school have been married in many ways. This new growth opportunity is not a division and separation like a divorce as much as a child leaving the nest to become its own entity with the guidance and help of the parents. We still have a station that's within the basement of the school. Nate Reed, who is also on our board, currently resides over the broadcasting classes there. And the goal and hope is as the station grows, so will the opportunities for the students within the CTC. So they'll go through the CTC program with Nate, graduate, and whether they continue on to go to, say, Linden State or another college in any of the school systems in America. The hope is that they can return to this region and find gainful employment within television stations without having to go to Boston or Chicago. That they'll have a pick of multiple stations in this region. It's a long-term goal. Right now we're focusing on growing our local hub. We have 33 Main Street on 33 Main Street in Littleton is our business office. We still have our studio here in the school that we have access to and can utilize. But as we grow with our equipment, we'll be able to go live from anywhere. So currently we can go live from studio space at the school and in the gymnasium. But as we replace equipment that's aging, we'll be able to go live from Franconia and air parades right to the station. Or go live from the Colonial in Bethlehem or Bretzfelder Park. And we can stream that over IP technology, which is internet technology. The cameras themselves can communicate directly to the video server, which will then communicate with the broadcast towers to get the station or the channel signal onto the home television stations. One of the topics that does come up is, well, what about cord cutters? And do you have to be a cable subscriber? As we look to grow and replace equipment, one of the areas that we've identified for growth opportunity is Roku station. So we can access the Channel 2 or Granite North signal through a Roku device or an Apple TV device. So one doesn't have to have a subscription to Spectrum to receive the station. So these growth opportunities are a handful of years down the road as we look to develop, but they are on our larger agenda as we look to continue to grow with the station. There's certainly many levels of this growth that is happening, and one of which is the rebranding and the education of the citizens. And like I said, with Dr. Mallison, Justin and I spoke the other day, we felt it was important to share with the board that this growth opportunity, it's not a division of the school and the station so much as an opportunity for the station to grow independently and provide greater opportunity through multiple opportunities with the students as they continue on. It's still in flux. There's still a lot that's in the process, but it's a real exciting time as we look to change what we're looking to do. The 7 townships that currently receive us, they're only receiving us on the cable access, but as soon as we can get the equipment that's needed, they can watch us live on the internet. I know that there's a few, I've been to select board meetings and some of the town select board members can't even watch our shows because they don't have cable. The broadband build out and the cable access build out doesn't afford them the opportunity. So we're working with the Profile Cable Consortium to help establish more broadband build out throughout this region, and then, you know, once we get what we need to here, we'll look to the next town as part of the nonprofit's mission to continue up the, almost said up the coast because I'm from the seacoast, but up the border, up in towards Canada and northern Vermont, and provide more and better service than what's currently available to the citizens. It's a broad agenda right now, but as we look to develop more, we get the website that's been receiving tenfold hits since when I took over, when Bob O'Connor retired in early 2016. It was a stagnant single-page website. We have over 150 articles there, the current news articles, almost 200 pages of content that's there. What was at one time, 10 to 15 hits per month has grown to almost 1,000 hits per month. So the station is making an impact on the region, and we've identified this as an opportunity to make an even greater impact. Back in 2015, there was actually a question and concern that was floated down in Concord and in Manchester. WMUR, the ABC affiliate that sits in New Hampshire, it was being pressured to not be in the state anymore and have ABC's WMTW out of Portland be the broadcast signal here. It didn't happen, but it's whispering to happen again. So if that does happen, there will not be a New Hampshire news station. We'll get our news from WCAX or WMTW or one of the Massachusetts stations. So that just puts another check mark in the box of why local news outlets such as Granite North Television would be a critical component for the sharing of information here in the North Country. It's a rural area. In many ways, we're underserved. We don't get the news coverage that we would if we were in Manchester or Concord or something. We get flashes of news stories when tragic or exciting things happen, but for the most part, it's a dead zone up here. So the onus is on us as citizens, and I mean certainly the newspapers do an important part in playing that pivotal role as well. But as far as the video content and distribution of news and community access that we provide, it's an exciting time. We've partnered with the loading dock to help start providing coverage of shows that happen there. Recently we did live streaming of an 8-hour concert that was at the Opera House, the Musical and the Music. So as we continue to push forward with our growth, that would be a live stream that could go to the station rather than just to YouTube or Facebook Live. So there's a lot of things that are in transition, but the goal in the long run is to provide a hyper-local access television station for the community and the citizens that they could then use for information reception, or even use the access station themselves to produce their own shows. We've had a handful of individuals that have approached me in the last few months. The Toastmasters, which is an international organization, they're working with me right now in production, well, pre-production, to produce their own quarterly television series. The woman that came to me from Concord was Concord Television's Toastmasters production. She's living in Lincoln now, and she wants to use Grand North Television as her outlet to do Toastmasters. There's a handful of local producers that are looking to put shows out that we've received over the last few months. So as the months and the years go on, we're going to see a hotbed of content that's being developed by producers regionally that then can be shared on our access station. And then our access station, because it's public access, we network with all of the public access stations that are in New Hampshire as well as nationwide. Last fall, the Upstage Players did a presentation on a production of Romeo and Juliet. We filmed that and put it up onto our servers, and it's syndicated in California, Montana, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Maine. And it's the highest viewed YouTube station, or highest viewed YouTube video that we have on our station. But the fact that we can put locally produced content into California, it's extraordinary. And that only grows leaps and bounds when we have the opportunity to produce it on a Roku station that anybody can receive, rather than just those that syndicate it on a public access station. That's kind of the long and short of it. Like I said, I kind of glossed over many of the points. A lot of it is on the website or on the handouts that I gave you. But are there any questions or thoughts about the station itself? Where we've been, what we've done, how we're getting there?
I think it's grown a lot since it was started years ago.
It's been a lot of work. There's certainly a lot more to do still, but we felt it was important to share with you guys, as the school board, along with the town and the hospital, are supporters of the station, both financially and emotionally, with the equipment that's there. So we wanted to share with you where we're at and where we're headed.
Thank you
Certainly.
very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, next on the agenda is...
Would you like me to go back? Yeah, no, I'm ready now.
Okay.
I was ready before, but
Thank you,
Chad needed to go.
No, I know.
So the long anticipated new district website rollout. I'm not going to touch every menu. I believe it's ready to roll out as soon as tomorrow. Are there some opportunities that we're going to discover as we go? I'm sure. One of the things that we tried to make all the school pages to be universal, to look, everything's going to look the same. So when you're scrolling through. So this is the main district website, very similar to the old one, except it's got the rolling pictures underneath the main header. Still have the same links that you had before with school calendars, bus routes, the SAU calendars at the bottom, the Twitter feed, and then on the right, the different menus for the different schools, which those are the new menus that we just recently received from the Abbey group. Staff directory, which I'll go over in a second, and all the Power School information and public notices. Obviously, this black bar at the top won't be there when we go live. That's just the editing version. So yeah, there's the favorite picture.
It's gonna go.
This. So all the board members, your emails are under each. And again, I'm not going to click on every link. All your meeting agendas, meeting minutes, policies, the district calendars, and then our mission and values. all 4 of the schools associated within the website. We will be looking at adding above the notch to this once it's fully up and running, and we have some content that we can put on there. Parents tab, so for the school calendars, the student handbooks, their Power School login, students, very similar with the exception of the online learning. And again, this is from the district side, what they would see, all the staff links for maintenance or tech, the athletics page, about SAU 84, and I'll show you the staff directory. So the old one was a Google Doc, if you guys remember, when you went on and you had to scroll down and you were, it would cut off certain parts. So this is a responsive, this will work on a cell phone or a tablet of any sort. But you can search by school over here if you want, and it'll populate it. You can search by subject matter that the person teaches. You can search by what grade the person is. If you know their last name, you can search that, and all of their email links, or all of their emails are linked. So once you find who you want, you can simply click the email. It will open your default email and go from there. So that is going to be on the district page as well as any other page that says SAU 84 staff. So you can click on any of these titles and it'll sort it by last name or in reverse order, by position. You can do it by building. If you know your teachers at the academy and you want to quickly, you don't want to type it, but you want to click it and so forth. And then about Littleton, there's a little demographics under there that was on the old site, and then the local links. So these all go out to the town of Littleton. I mean, these are all hyperlinked. So the one Chad was just talking about, it still says Channel 2 Littleton Area Television, but that goes directly to the site that he was referring to. The public library, Chamber of Commerce, so forth. So this is accessible anybody, anywhere, once this site goes live. So if somebody's looking at Littleton schools or Littleton area and they want to find out, hopefully this could be their one-stop area to find most of their information. Any questions about the district side? Anything you wanted to see that I didn't click on?
I'm just going to ask, is the mission, vision, and values of the school board on there?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
So SAU 4, it's under the school board and your mission and values here. And then the policies, that links out to the Google Drive with all the different policies, so forth. So the individual schools, a lot of thanks go to the administration, the administrative assistants, guidance that got us content. But we tried to make them universal in the sense of the letterhead that's got names, phone numbers, so forth on their main page. Again, their mission and vision, a picture of the schools or schools, and then a separate calendar for the high school and middle school. So if there's an event going on at the high school, middle school, yeah, it can be on the SAU 84 calendar, but if the parent is used to going to or just wants to go to the school site, it's going to be there as well. It can be linked to both or as many as we want. And talking with Jen, we want to try to put more events on here, like athletic events, instead of just the athletic calendar, as well as guidance visits when other schools come in, because there is a guidance calendar, but it doesn't link to this. So we'll continue to work with that. Under each, and these tabs are the same all the way across for all the schools, about us, of academics and learning, students, parents, faculty, and the high school is the only one that has athletics because that goes to our big teams. So under the about us, there's an administration tab. So I know Jen will like her picture there too, with phone numbers, links to their email, just a one-click, and they're able to directly email the administration or call if they had any questions. And then the staff directory, and this will look the same on Lakeway side. So all the staff that have pictures have been uploaded in. They're sorted by administration, guidance and specialists, teachers, and then support staff. And one of the things, you pick any of the teachers, we'll pick on Nathan because he's not here. But you can click on him, it'll show you exactly what his email address is, as well as his extension at the school, but it also shows the courses that he taught. These are direct links that you can click on from here or from any mobile device that will email automatically or call the phone number to the school automatically, and then they could ask for extension 5134. I know some people didn't like the pictures, but they shrink them down a little bit, but they're perfect. So we listed the graduation requirements, the full program of studies. We're still working on content for these 3 pages, the social-emotional learning, universal design for learning, and competency-based education, which are the big 3 that we talk about in the district. So those will probably be hidden when I roll the website out, because I don't want them to be half done and not where we want. At the high school, every department has their own page. We created these. If teachers go out and create their own web pages, we will gladly link them in here. So for instance, if we go to the English department, so for Daisy Bronson Ann High School, all the teachers' names and their email links are here, including the academy, all alphabetical. And then at the bottom it shows all the courses that we offer, 7 through 12. There's a link to the program of studies, so if a parent is at home and wants to know what British literature is, they can simply click program of studies. It'll take them there, and they can find the details without having to go back to the previous page. And with the rollout of competency-based grading, these are all of the competencies for English courses. They're all the same throughout the subjects. So it's right here. It tells the parents, it tells the students how they're being graded and what the goal is for them to be proficient when it's all said and done. But we could link, if say Mrs. Abbott did a web page for her classes, we could put it on here. The one thing that I'm going to, not just me, but Matt as well, we're going to ask is that they update it more frequently than some sites in the past. Like we found some sites that were a couple years old that hadn't been updated, so we don't want to link something if they're not going to maintain it. Student section, all the same links. There's student forms here, so their community service form, as well as any field trip permissions. The lunch menus are linked. The new student handbook for 18-19 is here. The parents tab, some different forms there. There's only one form currently under there about bringing a guest to a dance at the high school, middle school. But the policies, free and reduced lunch, the parent handbook, the parent log on, so forth. And then the faculty. And in order to access any of these forms here under the faculty link, you have to have an SAU 84 account. So they're not, if public, they'll see them, they can click on them, it'll say access denied, or to request access. And that's just because it really doesn't pertain to the public with fax cover page or field trip forms that the faculty have to fill out themselves. And then the link to the athletics. Hugh Gallant, we'll go to Hugh Gallant first. So this is all the same as what it was. The only difference is we've updated the teachers to correspond with the correct departments. There was some retired teachers that were still on there, but this was done in 2016, but it's just linked in. But we do have ownership of it now to be able to edit it if we needed to. The Academy spent some time with Kelly on making sure that all the information that she wanted on there. It talks about the profile and the interventions and so forth. And there's also on the main page here of the district page is the student services. So it lists all of the different services and any links, for instance, to the New Hampshire Safeguards Handbook. Sorry, I can't read that whole thing. But 504s, ESL, home education, and it has all of Kelly's information. So if somebody's at home and has some questions, they now have contact information, which wasn't on our old site. And then the best for last, Lakeway. Same thing, we use their letterhead at the top, phone fax, mission statement, values. One of the pictures that Alex took last year with the drone of Lakeway. And then again, the Lakeway events calendar, which it's populated by the admin assistants at Lakeway. The staff search, everything is the same. So again, by administration, guidance, and specialists, everybody is linked. You can highlight over without clicking. It tells you what grade they teach, if it's a teacher, or what their role is in the school. If somebody doesn't know a person's name, or they just know what they might do. And then, so each grade has their own course, and this will probably become something more, especially at the elementary school. I'm kind of a believer that they will do more individual websites for parents to access. So currently it just has each teacher's name and their email address to link by grade. And then we have the special education, we have Title I, the leopard competencies, which just again shows the parents and the students what their 1, 2, 3, 4 scale means for the 4 different sections. And then everything else is identical with the drop downs for faculty, parents, students, and at any time, if a parent or they wanted to get back to our main site, they can just click anywhere here. They got the top schools across the top, but this would bring them back to their main page. So we're excited to roll it out. I think it's better than what we currently had. I think there's definitely things that we're going to continue to add to it, but I wanted to show you, or you guys wanted to see it too, I think, first, but we wanted to show it. There's that picture again.
I know.
Before we went. Is there any questions, anything you wanted to see that I didn't show?
I think it looks great.
I will say this, and we started with this process some time ago, and there was 2 ways to approach it. One was to get different focus groups together and say, this is what we want, this, make sure you do this, and make sure, and that would have taken this process even longer than it has been. We did some of that informally, but we determined to try to build something, to build it in a way that we best knew how, but also not presented as a finished product, that it will be subject to some suggestions, ways to improve, with various focus groups, whether it's parents, students, board members, community members. And I do know, and I'm not sure how this looks like, this will be a conversation I'll have with Dale about how some of the information that comes through this office looks, specifically budget information. But I don't want to hear in this upcoming budget year that we can't find basic stuff about the budget and in the district finances in general. That needs to be very easy and very intuitive. And I know we can make that work with this site. So there's some things that will continue to evolve as we go through finishing the site. It's never finished, but putting it out there. But I think, as Dale said, it will go live and replace the site that we have.
Any comments from the board?
Great.
Thank you, Dale.
Thanks.
Thanks for all your work.
Thanks, Dale.
He's put a lot of effort into it, as has the building principals and directors and a lot of different people.
Twice. Twice. Thank you.
Okay. Next thing on the agenda is the approval of minutes of August 6th.
So moved.
Any errors, corrections, or omissions?
Yes. I have one to say, good as well as waiting for you.
Well, I have questions, I don't know if this is the time to ask them, I wasn't here, so.
Can I just take that?
Can do it after.
On page 4, I think it is. There was a motion supposedly that I made, it's the last one. I don't make motions. I usually ask the board to make motions, so it says motion and then Wiggett. So, you put Nelson.
I think it was me,
So that's the only correction I have.
and I think you seconded it.
Well, no, whatever, I think it was Ann and Nelson. Greg, did you say you had some questions you want to ask later?
Yeah, just, there are questions about things that occurred in the last meeting, and I just want a little more information, but I can ask them later if you want, or I can ask them now.
I think you can ask them later, just go.
Yep, that's fine.
So do I hear a motion to amend the suggested?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The business report is the review of manifests. It does say treasurer's report on there, but we had that last meeting. So we're going to get that tonight. Unfinished business is Lakeway Elementary Facilities Advisory Committee update. We've had 2 meetings so far. They've had 2 meetings so far. Ralph over there is the chair of the committee. And there's another meeting on Wednesday this week, the 22nd, at 5 p.m. at Lakeway. Anything to add? Okay. Ralph,
Yeah.
did you have anything?
The only thing I'd like to add is that right now, we're basically in a research mode. We're trying to find out what people would like to see. Whether they'd like to see a new school or rebuild that school, keep the school in the same place, how they want the flow of the school to go. So we're in that research mode. And this Wednesday night, we're going to talk a lot about how to get this information out to the parents and out to the public so they can get back to us with what they'd like to see in this town. What's in the best interest of everybody. Because I think one thing we talked about, it's important that when we go to the deliberative sessions, that we got all the information we need and we can answer their questions and they're comfortable that we have made this process for them. So right now, like I said, this Wednesday's going to be a lot of discussion about how to bring this information in so we can start processing.
Thank you for doing that, Ralph, too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of energy, a lot of anticipation, excitement. I would second everything that Ralph said, and I do think that one thing we'll need to make sure is we do focus on the intent of the committee. The intent of the committee was to make an informed recommendation to the board. And so, yeah, there's some work to be done there. You know, I know this week we're going to look more closely at some of the questions that go into if a new school were recommended, what all does that entail? Because there's lots of considerations beyond just the cost of it. There's locations, there's other site preparation, there's a number of pieces of information and a number of discussions that need to be had that are part of that process. Besides just the sheer cost of it versus the other options. So, but good work's being done, and we've had almost everybody that had agreed to serve on the committee there. And so I think we're definitely well poised to continue the work. It'll be a long process. I think we all know that. But I think there's good people that are helping us with it.
Wednesday night's just a committee meeting, it's not a public meeting. Just
These are all noticed board meetings, as it were. I mean, they're noticed because we want the board to be able to go. All of them, if they so choose, so they are noticed meetings, and certainly the public can attend. At this point, we haven't anybody take or do that, but I would guess as we get further along, we'll see more of that. But yeah, anybody's welcome to come. Public meeting. Great question.
long detail, but a couple of us have gone through it, made some suggestions. I don't know if you folks have had time to go through it all. So, and then,
In the handbook, yeah, there were blatant changes, or, I didn't see them as far as I read. Pretty much, well,
I think in the handbooks, they basically talked about the school themselves, and then they added a link to policies that they refer to, so the parents can link to them.
you provided a little more clarification on some of the policies too.
Yeah.
Jane Gray really worked on doing that, Chris looked at it, so.
Any further comments from anybody? Bring your motion to accept the consensus student handbooks.
So moved. Second?
All in favor? Motion carries. Next one on the agenda is the special education procedure plan, and boy, is this long.
Wow.
We've had it for a while,
Yeah.
that's why.
Is this sort of similar to the?
Well, it used to be the old LEA policy and procedures manual.
Okay.
And so it used to be boards would have to adopt that,
Yeah.
but what they've done is change it to, these are all the procedures that we have to follow in the state of New Hampshire for special education. So they changed it to a procedures plan that doesn't have to be officially adopted by the board because this is what we have to do. But there were some changes to the New Hampshire rules and regulations last March, and so we had to update our procedures plans to, I guess, reflect those changes.
Well, what I had done is I had asked to put on the procedures that we had to annually set
And
or
so,
adopt. So that's what
Policy.
those,
yeah, I saw
those
those
four
policies.
policies are down there.
Yeah.
Is that,
And that most of those policies basically refer to the
Yeah.
procedures plan.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
okay, so we'll just adopt them again all over tonight.
That's,
Okay. Any comments from board or any, I need that here for a little. It took any hours.
I don't think you can understand this.
Yeah, that's another thing. Okay, the next item on the new business is the Littleton School District Emergency Operations Plan, which is quite long as well. Did anybody get a chance to read that? I do have some corrections, I believe, which I'm glad to give you there.
Me?
Or
Greg.
or Greg. Yes, okay. So, do you want to hear what they are, or do you just want me to get into it?
I'll take it.
It's on, I gave you the page numbers as well. Any other comments from any other board members? What?
I said that, yeah.
Okay. No, I think mine was basically just some name changes.
Yes, yeah, a lot of housekeeping is issues, just maintaining.
I put them name changes.
I would assume a lot of that is also similar to Kelly's where it's state-based. So a lot of it is just, this is the way it is for whatever, no matter what school district.
Well, yeah, and then we had a special person write it up because that's the way it was, what's
Right.
needed and all that stuff.
Chapter 2 is more specific to our schools and the
Yeah.
town.
Yeah. So would you like us to approve that tonight, Greg, or,
We need to submit by the September 1,
I know?
so it might be a good idea, we'll make changes, it's a living document anyways.
Yeah, but I think you can see me after. So I just think those people are not there. All right,
Make the motion to read, accept the emergency operations plan, with the changes that were started.
accept it, you want us to go through this policy?
However you want to do it.
We don't need to.
Okay. Oh, you're on, special education report.
So for my report this time, I included the summer school report. I think district-wide, we had a pretty good turnout, 83 students total, I believe. At Lakeway, all the students participated in math and reading programs. They had phys ed every day, right?
Every day except for the week of Portland was 110.
All the students that were enrolled in summer school participated in the breakfast and lunch program that was provided. I don't know if you have specific questions about the summer school program, but
It was a really successful year.
yeah.
Yeah,
We were very pleased with the
that was from parents and that they're pretty happy.
Yeah, I think that parents were happy. We had communication, some students that we expected didn't attend, but, and we had some opportunities for kids that actually were accepted to camp programs, so they might have missed a week and stuff, but I think parents were really pleased with the program.
Reading it, it looks great.
Oh, so I should just note that that's specific feedback that we got from the teachers of those grade levels, so, that I just took their direct quotes and feedback.
I think you started this last year, and
Yeah.
that was really great.
Yeah.
because
It was good to see the
synopsis.
teacher perspectives too, so.
It's good. Thank you. Jennifer?
Just a couple things to note. NHIA Sportsmanship Committee is going to be recognizing our school for the sportsmanship award coming up next month. So that was nice. Under learning culture, we continue our work with the NEASC Self-Reflection Committee to finalize our initial reports to NEASC. Had a great work session today, and we'll present it in our first faculty meeting for approval by the staff members. Next, we've got the possibility of joining Tri-M Honor Society. Chrissy Noyes approached me. Students are really interested in an honor club for our musicians. So she's done some exploring. I attached the brochure so you have that to look through. So we'd like kind of your support to establish a chapter in our school. When we start talking costs, it's $100, and that's something that would come out of current funds that we have available for the music program. So if you have questions about
There is a donor component to that, too, though. If some generous citizen wanted to donate that $100 fee.
But so I know that when we added the bass fishing, that I needed your approval. So I'm hoping that you'll consider approving this program as well. We can start our school year off.
What's the advisor cost?
There is not, it would be a volunteer, but it is not in our negotiated agreement.
So is that
But we
gonna
do
be-
have a volunteer who's excited to help develop the program establishing this honor society.
I like volunteers.
I like the program. How many students do you see enrolling in it? But just
For the music department or for the honor society?
for the honor society.
Well, I think I have 70 students from grades 7 through 12, 70 or 80, and I think it all depends on what their grades are in the other subject areas. But when I had spoken with my high school students last year about it, a lot of them were very eager. I think it'd be really great for them. It's a benefit for them to continue staying in it.
And it's an honor society, so there'd be that
process of induction.
Right.
So you're not probably looking
I
at
had,
30 kids by any means.
No, that's what I was wondering. I mean, you know who their students are.
Yeah.
so-
and probably the majority of the department could be in. And they would, so I had put in here the criteria for getting into the honor society, and how they have to be enrolled into a music class or ensemble at least one semester of the year, and then what their grade level is within the music department versus within the other courses, and the service that they do within the community and the school and the leadership. So I see a lot of the students already do a lot of, and it's a student-run organization. So I think it's really great to continue with their leadership skills.
I like the recognition of giving the music department, sometimes I think it's, I think pushed aside a little bit, so I'm all for that. Me too.
So do you need a motion?
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the state honors program starting this school year.
Second?
No, it's-
We all seconded. We all seconded.
Any further questions from the
I
board?
can't, but get
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
Okay. We have worked on our our student handbook, student parent handbook. Thank you for your approval. We've also begun developing more of a staff resource guide. It's in there as a handbook. I know we need all those approved eventually, but it's really got the links to all the things they need to function throughout the school year, task times, calendar. It's got a lot of those resources in it. So Greg and I and Al, and we've been working on populating that, so we hope for board approval at a future meeting. Learning supports, okay. Above the notch, community school, our enrollment to date is, Rochelle, nine?
No, I took another one.
You did.
So I have 10 confirmed and 9 in process for the first semester.
So
And then I have 3 from different school districts that are in a holding pattern. that are looking.
So we had mentioned at the last board meeting the need to kind of establish a fee for out-of-district students. So we're hoping to be able to come up with a fee schedule if Lisbon or Profile or area school wants to send a student to our program, that we can kind of partner with them. I know it's not something we want to do necessarily go all out and do our first year, but if they're coming to us, we need to be able to answer them with a value. I might suggest, as something to start our first year with, $500 a course fee. I don't know how the board feels about that. I just know that we've got to be able either answer them or tell them we're not open to any out-of-district students, and with the new program, we can gain some revenue. It might be something we want to consider.
Are there any guidelines, or do we have to really kind of figure it out as we go?
Well, we use the $125 per course for our students in Littleton, or anyone over 21, an adult coming back to take classes, pay $125, and we actually have people in that criteria doing that already. And then the state suggested anywhere from $250 to $500 per course, per person. So,
Rochelle reached out to the other programs that are similar to us in the southern part of the state, and those are the numbers we see from similar programs.
What were we seeing from, because you guys kind of got a lot of this from going over to Conway, correct, over to Kennedy?
It does not. And it's such a large district, they were just
So
supporting
they don't
it
have,
as-
so there's nothing to compare there, okay.
No.
no, but like, I reached out to Salem does it, Exeter does it, Nashua does it, Claremont does it.
Does it, charges?
They charge for other schools to send their students
But
to
you don't
their
have the-
adult high school.
Yeah, we
Their
do.
amounts
We
is
should.
$250, anyone from
Oh, okay,
$250
all right.
to $500 per course. So that's, my recommendation would be to stay within that price range. I know that we don't want to undercut some other, like North Country Charter Academy and whatnot, and we want to be sympathetic to that part. So, I mean, my recommendation is to do the $500 per class until we'll be able to get that out to school districts. I have Lisbon on hold right now and Profile on hold that are looking. So I want to be able to give them an answer.
You know, remember last fall when I went to the principals meeting and they don't know what to do with that certain population? This is certainly appealing.
So those that are in process right now, are any of them from those districts that you have on hold, or?
I have 9 in
The 9 in
process
process are from our district?
from our town.
Okay.
And then I have roughly 3 that have inquired about it
Okay.
and wanting to know, and I keep saying
I'll get back to you.
Right
Right now, we don't
the
have
number.
any. Okay. Right now, we don't have any
No.
out of district.
No,
Did we,
She's gotta get back.
did we haven't made a request to the board for an exec commission?
Right.
Right.
And on the
That obviously will need to happen.
brochures, we will, please call for rates, is how it's written. So
So
that,
would these out-of-district students be able to take more than one course per semester on?
if it's personalized education,
Right.
so I look at, do they need it, right? So that's first, so yes, in a sense, yes, they can, you can take more than one, and I'll just fit them into the grid based on what they need to take. So they could pay, if they took 3 courses, that's $1,500. That's for that one semester, and then the next semester we create a new master schedule, and then we do it again. So again, it would be based on course. And it opens it up, because I can hire teachers based on numbers, but I can't do it unless I know what I'm bringing in from different areas.
So I think I hear your recommendation is $500 per student for out-of-district per course.
That's our recommendation to start. We can go, if we don't get anybody, maybe we need to lower it, or if we get it, we get too big, we can go up.
Okay. So we need a motion
I would follow the recommendation,
if the board's ready to do that.
Make a motion to accept the recommendation of a tuition of $500 per course. Would like the motion to move this week? Yeah, for the district, for out-of-district students, yes.
Any further questions from the board? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
We will be rolling out our task curriculum as a district this coming year, so it is the Choose Love curriculum that's developed after the Sankaman tragedy, and I put a link in there for you. You can see that it is being adopted by a lot of New Hampshire schools. I was pretty excited to see that article validating our efforts. And I need to thank Littleton Chevrolet and Dwayne Cody for nominating our school to receive a school-wide assembly from Sweethearts and Heroes. If you get on it, and send the link there so you can kind of check them out. But they'll be coming to work with us on September 26th. And our plan moving forward to support that social emotional learning as we implement the curriculum is to have quarterly assemblies that are focused on the Choose One curriculum. I think that upcoming event, 7th grade orientations, the 23rd, followed by not like a whole school orientation or sort of that presentation that we're focusing on approach to grading and online registration.
Any further questions for Jen? So, hearing none. Dale?
You skipped Al. Al was next.
Al was next. Oh, I'm just following my agenda. Okay.
Who would you like next?
Al,
So,
you're up.
Yeah, that's twice now.
It's the dark.
Just saying.
So the Hugh Gowan report, just
see our goals for this year, of course, we're part of a larger community with the high school and middle school, so we're also working on the big three as well. But also, we want to increase our opportunity to develop more industry recognized credentials. Part of career and technical education, you have to have a third-party assessment of how students are progressing. Typically, we use industry recognized credential like NLMA would be an industry credential. There are credentials in a lot of areas. We often use precision exams, which is an online free service. The state actually picks up the fee for that. DOE picks up the fee for a third-party assessment. But we want to increase our industry recognized credentials. The only negative, the positive is the student will have something in their hand, certificate that is widely recognized, which would be very helpful. The negative, and this is what we have to assess, is the cost. Because typically those third-party assessments do cost a little. So that's what we will do this year. And also, I think part of the grant we have written for Perkins includes career pathway education or career counseling through a curriculum. And we're actually using the same curriculum for our evening students to help them not only get the diplomas we talked about before, but find a career pathway and links and connections to some good employment in the complete. So those are our main goals for this year. Again, part of Perkins that was approved for 18-19 is the possibility of increasing a staff member, and a nomination that we'll talk about later. Enrollment provided you just with our out-of-district numbers, and that's going to change. It always does. These are numbers that were given to us in the spring with some confirmation over the summer in some areas. Our goal for out-of-district, nice number we like to look at, is 100. Presently we're at 111. We'll see what happens when the schools open up. Unfortunately, schools open up at different times, so I won't know exactly until after Labor Day when the regional comes on board. Speaking about Perkins, reauthorization of Perkins, we've been working under the guidelines of the law of Perkins 4 for many years. Perkins 5 just passed. I'm not sure it's going to bring us much more money, but it will allow us to work with middle schoolers and lower grades and use some Perkins money around that, as well as a big component is working with students that are high risk or are not employed, and oddly enough, that's exactly what we're doing. So we're falling very much in line with Perkins 5. We'll be getting a lot of information this year about Perkins 5 and the details around that. Just so you know, for PD over the summer, the DOE had sponsored a CPD conference August 14th to the 16th in Plymouth. This is the second annual. We're trying to create a meaningful conference, professional development for all teachers under CTE. And we had 6 of our teachers attend the conference, so it was well attended from our standpoint. And I know you've heard about the summer camps. We had 2 very successful summer camps. Teacher education sponsored the American Red Cross babysitting class. So our instructor worked with Kelly Hadlock, who is certified to teach this class for middle schoolers. And of course, there's long-lasting our STEM health camp. Both camps were fully engaged, 22 in the babysitting and 16 in the health camp. And again, Perkins, our grant, I've written some money in there for next summer, so hopefully we'll be adding technology camp around STEM, possibly with robotics. I didn't mention here, but Nathan Reed was able to attend 2 Project Lead trainings to become certified. So we'll see more on robotics and equipment. I'm excited about that. Looking forward to the start of the school year.
It's my turn already.
Never mind.
No, I'm gonna
You can skip over. I'm okay, I'm not going to object. So this is just the short version of things that the staff was able to get accomplished over the summer. As well as some outside vendors. If you haven't been to Lakeway, the staff room in the entrance that had an issue with mold in the carpet there has been retiled, and then new carpet was put in the rest of the remaining office. The one thing that we'll have to look at is addressing the eyesore of looking from the front office to the conference room, and the gray carpet to the whatever color it was, orange, brown. Unit ventilators, we were informed 2 weeks ago that they're shipping on 8/31, so they won't be here in time to start school. Terry's going to work with the vendor at installing these outside of school time, but each one takes about 2 days. Obviously, there's not enough PD days or days off between now and winter before they need to be replaced. But it didn't get down to Lakeway today, but the modular stairs were supposed to have started today. Were they?
The platform's up.
Okay, good. He was very gracious enough. Originally, when we reached out to him, it was September 17th start time frame, and something must have opened up, and he emailed us back the next day and said he could start this week, so they'd be ready before school started. So, of course, we thanked him and accommodated the change. The academy, just waiting on the Homeland Security report. I did email the DOE again today. It was supposed to be 45 days. It's been a little longer than 45 days since their visit on the 7th. The infrared roof scans are done at the high school and at the academy. The academy had about 6 square feet of wet areas that they deemed from the scan. It's not above the gym, believe it or not. And then the high school, middle school had about 820 square feet. And we discussed at the facilities meeting, a lot of the 6 of the 8 wet spots that were found are on new construction from 2011 and on, so it should be under warranty. We just need to get the information to validate that. But 6 of the 8 wet areas should be covered if we reach out to the vendor. The drama storage and supplies have been moved from the academy, so hopefully the fire chief will be pleased. Thank you to Mrs. Steinhauer. The entire Hastings family spent multiple days here helping out, as well as the entire custodial staff, plus a few from Lakeway that came up. It was a lot of work, but I think that's something in our rearview mirror, hopefully. Power ventures installed, hopefully to alleviate the draft issues at the high school. The asbestos removal on the 5th floor classroom and the 2nd floor bathroom completed. They've been retiled and revinyled. Tomorrow the partitions go back into the restroom. The custodians did a lot of painting this summer. I think from a visual standpoint, the entire main floor as you walk into the high school was addressed, with the exception of a few walls as you go around the gym. The white areas haven't been touched up. There is an opening for a full-time night custodian at the high school, middle school, if anybody's got some ideas. We ordered some new ADA compliant signage. One of the things that both fire and police chief have addressed in safety meetings over the past few years was the numbering system at the high school, but also a lot of rooms didn't even have a sign on them, so they weren't labeled properly. So worked with Jen and we ordered a lot of new signs, and I think I gave her a lot of headaches because I kept saying, I need you to approve this, I need you to check this, I need you to make sure it's what we want. They'll be replaced as the school year starts. They probably won't be here before.
I saw one of those, they look really nice.
You must have saw Mrs. Carboneau's.
Huh?
You must have
I
saw.
don't know which one I saw,
Yeah,
but they have to be at a certain height, I thought.
they have to be anywhere between 48 and 60 inches.
That was gonna be my question. I saw them removing all the signs on the side of the building.
I can measure it for you.
Well, that's a parking
What is all
sign.
that?
That was the old parking sign.
Yeah.
We used to have assigned parking, and Mrs. Carbonell was gonna see who wants to get to work early if they want those spots. So, she said she didn't feel she needed one that close to the building. No, so the room signs, the maroon signs that are outside the doors,
Oh, I didn't see those.
they haven't been put up, so that's good, that's why.
Oh, okay.
But in order to replace them, like one of the things that we found out, the old signs that were purchased in 2007-ish were 6x6 signs. That's no longer considered ADA compliant. They have to be 6x8. So as opposed to just replace like the 40-something missing signs, we replaced all 100 so that they're all the same. As I mentioned, there outstanding work in all buildings by the custodians. Their effort, commitment made a tremendous difference, and they deserve 100% of the credit as to how the schools look to start the year, as well as obviously throughout the school year. I updated the facilities plan, so the things that have been completed have been highlighted in there, and we'll continue to use that as a working document. From technology, we already talked about the website, and then the new online registration forms. Jen hinted at it for the orientation night this Thursday. There'll be Chromebooks available for parents that want to sit down and fill out, but I can tell you that there's not a lot of filling out if their information is correct in PowerSchool. They simply open the form, everything will be pre-populated for them, they just have to read it and click submit, and then their new registration will be completed, and then that's also it'll give them the option when they click submit, if they have multiple students, it'll say, do you want this information to carry across all your students? You hit yes, and it populates the rest of the students. So there should be a cost savings with copies going home, but it also should be a time saving for the parents. So the first week shouldn't be so dreaded by then. So I think that's it.
Dale, you meant on the infrared of the roast. What about Lakeway? We're still waiting.
Lakeway scheduled for 7 o'clock tonight.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Okay, yeah, I knew that was a little different.
You needed 2 days in a row of dry weather, and
okay.
They didn't really have it last week.
Tomorrow probably, right?
They're just doing it all in one night. He said they'll be doing about 3 hours tonight.
So when will the results be ready?
We have those back in about a week from when, so it should be next week sometime.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, I might comment, Dale mentioned the excellent work done by the custodial staff. I think I said this at the last time we were over there for the advisory meeting, the facility advisory committee. You know, they're making that school look pretty good despite the challenges and all. It's clean, and they've done a good job with it. And I think that certainly as we get students start using the building, of course it takes a bit of a toll on it with any building, new or old. They've done an outstanding job of what they have to work with there, for sure.
Okay. Crystal,
Alrighty.
last but not least.
You can see I put the enrollment numbers in there. Those are changing every day. Carla had sent me a message earlier this evening that 3 more registration packets went out today. So 3 kindergarten packets and a first grade packet. So those numbers will probably be a little different next month.
It was light.
Now I can read my agenda.
I listed there all the summer PD opportunities that our teachers participated in. And then at the bottom there, I actually linked to the jessevillagechooselove.org because we're doing that K through 12. So that curriculum has been printed for each teacher, and it will be happening every week in the classrooms that they play. We had one position open as of last Friday, so those interviews are actually tomorrow. You actually have to accept the resignation technically tonight first, but So we're a little down to the wire, so it's likely that we'll have to start the school year with a substitute in that spot. We already reviewed the handbook. I did link in there the staff handbook. That's still a pretty rough draft so far. But always willing to accept feedback on those. If anybody has some educators can demand. Kelly did the summer school report, so I won't go over that. I linked the pictures in there. Tanya Patterson updated our leopard locker with a new leopard face. And that really piggybacked off the work that the custodians had done painting the whole third grade wing, so everything looked really new, so she wanted to update that too. It was awesome. And they actually just, they were still painting as of last Thursday, and it just looks really awesome down there. And then I just put in some dates for you. The kindergarten meet and greet for the incoming kindergarten students is Friday from 8 to 6. They take appointments with their teachers to come in. Picture day is Wednesday, September 5th. Back to school night is the 6th. And 1 week Wednesday will resume on the 12th. So we're jumping right back into it.
So next on the reports, committee reports, personnel, there has been none. Facilities did meet and Dale received a report, basically.
Pretty much.
Very much. And policy, we have the following policies: ACE, which is procedural safeguards, non-discrimination on the basis of handicap disability. We have IHBA-R, procedures and safeguards for children with disabilities, and IHBAA, which is evaluation requirements for children with specific learning disabilities. And one that we have to review annually, every August, is DFA, is investment. They are on your drive. Other than that, the wording hasn't changed from the first time it was adopted. So, I'd like to hear a motion to approve and adopt.
I'll make a motion to accept, can I do a whole, or do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. To accept policy ACE, policy PSA, policy IHBAR, policy IHBAA, and policy IHBAAR, as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Superintendent's report.
All right, well, keep it kind of brief. We've heard from a lot of different people tonight and people that are doing all the work and planning. It's very, very good, good reports from everybody. Glad that music honorary is a program is a nice addition to the high school, middle school, high school. So I'm very, very pleased to see that go, and thank Christy for your efforts with that, and Jennifer as well. I think that it's part of some other things that we've done, I think, to enhance academics, adding another AP course this year, work going forward to look at other AP courses as well as running start courses. And I hope, I spoke with Jennifer about this a little bit the other day, but I hope that in the very near future, my vision for that is that many of our students, when they leave as seniors, that they simultaneously are almost ready to graduate from an Associate of Arts degree as well. It is possible with the right set of courses and the right planning to get very, very close to that. Certainly at least with 1 year of college outlook. New year, same challenges, same focuses. Glad to hear the big three talked about a little bit. We talk about it all the time. You hear it from me all the time. But not just me, it pops up everywhere. But those areas that we really try to focus on, and they're not just simple. I mean, there's many things that go into that. With the CBE, UDL, socio-emotional learning. Al talked a little bit about the Perkins grants. Having UDL training is a requirement now by the federal government for the Perkins grants. You have to sign off that the staff will be trained in universal design for learning. So I think that's a significant step forward. As far as the other things that we're doing, Wednesday we'll have all of our faculty and staff doing the staff development, youth, mental health, first aid. It'll be the second day of all-day comprehensive training in the area of trauma. You know, we ended the year back in June over at courtesy of the SAU 36 with Cassie Ackley Associates. Cassie wasn't Cassie, but one of her associates who did a great job. And we're following that up right on the heels of that as we begin the year with another full-day session on, again, works with some of the same topics, you know, dealing with trauma, supporting students. And then as we look forward at where we go from there, my hope is that we can really focus on using consultants, using the expertise we have within, by the way, and we do have a lot of built-in expertise as we go forward throughout the year to support teachers in their professional growth, to personalize their professional growth as well. So that may be, as I've spoken to before, the consultants coming in, not speaking to a whole group, but working with smaller groups of teachers. And also some of our own teachers doing some work, as they already have, presenting to support their college. So the big three go on: CBE, UDL, SEL. Thursday, 7:30, the board is invited. You're certainly invited to the day-long youth mental health first aid as well. But Thursday, 7:30, we start with a all-staff breakfast, and then we'll do the kickoff to the school year, even though technically we've been at least without kids, but faculty and staff there for a few days. But that will be a fairly short part of the day, because I want to leave as much of the day as possible for the teachers to go back to their buildings and work with the buildings and programs and so on. So we'll certainly look to be done by 9 o'clock, if not sooner, Crystal. I promise you we're going to want you. And but that will be again a day to, as Millie said, the energy is always nice there, and it'll be good. Hopefully many of the board can make it to that. And then just briefly, the union leader contacted me the other day, one of their reporters, and noticed that we had been among many schools that had applied for state aid for building projects, and will be reapplying again. And again, just asked me a little bit about, do you think you can get a new elementary school built in Littleton without state aid? And I said, I don't know. We're going to try. We're starting this process, knowing that at this moment there is no state aid available for building projects, no new state aid for building projects. There continues to be building projects under the old state aid formula, including some of ours, by the way, that are getting state aid. But for new construction, not at this point. And I said, you know, really, to me, it kind of boils down to, I learned a long time ago in my school finance classes and learning more about issues related to finance, related to equity, equality, and so on, that, you know, that something stuck with me a long time ago, and that little saying was that a student's address shouldn't determine the quality of the building they go to, physical quality, and it shouldn't determine the quality of education they get. I think that's kind of the mantra of public education, that all students, regardless of their address, i.e. the wealth of the town they live in, the wealth of their family, whatever, have a right to quality public education, have a right to facilities that are designed to educate them effectively, safely, all those things. So I think sometimes that's kind of lost in it. New Hampshire's system of education funding, you know, with its focus on local control, but also local pay the bill, does create some issues with vast differences in what can be raised through the tax rate. And I think that we'll see that certainly. I think most people are aware there's been lawsuits and so on. That issue probably not going away anytime soon. I think we do have an opportunity to attend an event here in the very near future in Berlin, actually, that will talk about some of those issues. So, I don't want to go too far on my soapbox, but I think people, it's important to understand that you know, it costs a lot more to raise $1 in Littleton than it does some other places. Whether it's for general operations, buildings, whatever. I also point out it costs a little less in some places. There are places that are even worse off than we are in terms of wealth per pupil, but not that many. So, on that happy note, I will pass it over to Ed. Yeah, let's the document said, let's talk about the event in Berlin, please.
Berlin Public Schools has invited school superintendents, school board members, town managers, town selectmen, and New Hampshire legislators to go to a meeting on September 6th at 6 p.m. In the Berlin Middle School auditorium, and they're going to discuss the funding, the current state of education funding, and the continued reduction of stabilization funds from the state of New Hampshire. The speakers are going to be, presenters will be Executive Counselor Andrew Wolinski and Attorney John Tobin. And both of those attorneys were active participants in the past school funding lawsuits. So I think I'm going to go. Anybody wants to join me? You're welcome. That's it.
I will be going.
So, on another note, I have to announce one of our school board members is resigning. The Littleton School Board. I will need to resign from my position on the school board effective after the August 20th, 2018 meeting due to changes in my work-related responsibilities. This has been a very difficult decision and comes after much thought and reflection. There are many important issues that our school district is working on, and having board members that are able to dedicate the amount and quality of time needed to address these issues is vital. I have truly enjoyed working with all of you, and I am honored to have had the opportunity to serve our school district. I will continue to support your efforts and stay involved as much as possible as a parent of an LHS student and a resident of Littleton. Respectfully, Jim Hannon. So, Jim, from the school board, we would like to give you the certificate of appreciation presented to James Annan for his dedication as a Littleton School Board member, April 2016 to August 2018.
It is sad to leave. Thank you all.
Yes, sure.
So, on that note, we can now go to non-public.
We want to do it for your very last time.
All right, make a motion to enter the non-public under paragraph 2, section 3 of RSA 91A:3 of the right to know law 4. Number 2, the hiring of a person as a public employee. Number 3, matters which, if discussed in public, will likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board. And number 7, consideration by the school board for entering into a student pupil tuition contract authorized by RSA 194 or RSA 195-A. Taking with us, Superintendent.
High school principal, CPC director. I'm sorry, I was and the usual suspects, business administrator, and clerk,
Okay,
and myself.
do we hear a second?
Second.
All in favor with a roll call vote? Kim Woodson?
I was going to say.
Ron Nelson?
Good night.
Ann Reed.
There are